Hello and welcome. I'm Geeta Mohan and you're watching India Today Global. Now, tensions have escalated between US President Donald Trump and South African President Cyril Ramaphosa after Trump announced that South Africa will not be invited to next year's G20 summit to be held in Miami. Now, what is happening and what's the backdrop of the story? Here is a detailed report.
Days after the G20 summit concluded in Johannesburg, it continues to attract controversy. US President Donald Trump, who skipped this year's summit, posted on social media that the United States will not invite South Africa to next year's G20, which is set to be hosted in Miami. In his post, Trump claimed that South Africa had refused to hand over the G20 presidency to a US embassy representative during last week's summit. He further wrote, and I quote, "Therefore, at my direction, South Africa will not be receiving an invitation to the 2026 G20, which will be hosted in the great city of Miami, Florida next year," unquote. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has responded to Trump's remarks, calling the decision regrettable. He stated, and I quote, "It is regrettable that despite the efforts and numerous attempts by President Ramaphosa and his administration to reset the diplomatic relationship with the US, President Trump continues to apply punitive measures against South Africa based on misinformation and distortions about a country," unquote. Ramaphosa further clarified that the United States was not present at the summit and that the instruments of the G20 presidency were formally handed over to a US embassy official at the headquarters of South Africa's Department of International Relations and Cooperation. Trump had boycotted this year's G20 after promoting a widely discredited claim that South Africa's white minority faces large-scale killings. The controversy first arose during Ramaphosa's visit to the White House earlier this year, when Trump alleged that a white genocide was taking place and that the government was killing white people, allowing their farms to be taken from them. The South African government has repeatedly rejected these claims.
We have many people that feel they're being persecuted and they're coming to the United States. So we take from many locations if we feel there's persecution or genocide going on.
I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective.
South African officials are now seeking solidarity from other G20 members, urging them to defend the integrity of the forum and the rights of all member states. With tensions rising between the two countries, the G20, which does not have a permanent secretariat, is currently supported by the Troika, comprising the previous, current and incoming presidencies. As South Africa and the US find themselves at odds, it remains to be seen how the G20 Troika will function after the US concludes its presidency. With Neha Kumari, Bureau Report, India Today.
A brazen shooting just steps from the White House. 2 National Guard soldiers critically injured and a suspect now in federal custody. US President Donald Trump has called this an act of terror, a major security breach at the heart of Washington, raising urgent questions about screening, protocols, and national security. Here's a report.
A shooting just a short distance from the White House complex. A gunman opened fire on National Guard personnel stationed in the area on Wednesday. 2 soldiers were hit, one in the head and the other in the chest. Both remain in critical condition. Security forces responded immediately, engaging the shooter. The attacker was injured in the exchange of fire and was taken into custody. Authorities have identified the suspect as Rehmanullah Lakhanwal, a 29-year-old Afghan national who resettled in Washington state. Investigators say he entered the United States in 2021 under the Biden administration's Operation Allies Welcome initiative. The FBI has now assumed control of the investigation.
There is confirmation now that the subject had a relationship in Afghanistan with partner forces. We are fully investigating that aspect of his background as well, to include any known associates that are either overseas or here in the United States of America.
US President Donald Trump and other officials in the current administration have reacted strongly to the attack.
This heinous assault was an act of evil, an act of hatred, and an act of terror. It was a crime against our entire nation. It was a crime against humanity. As President of the United States, I am determined to ensure that the animal who perpetrated this atrocity pays the steepest possible price.
I will ask the Secretary of the Army to the National Guard to add 500 additional troops, National Guardsmen, to Washington, D.C. This will only stiffen our resolve to ensure that we make Washington, D.C. safe and beautiful. The drop in crime has been historic.
The U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services announced it has suspended all immigration processing for Afghan nationals indefinitely. The incident has once again highlighted potential vulnerabilities within America's core security infrastructure. Bureau Report, India Today.
Dominican Republic President Luis Abinader announced that he had authorized the U.S. government to operate inside restricted areas in the Caribbean country to help in its fight against drug trafficking. Abinader further added that the U.S. can refuel aircraft and transport equipment and technical personnel at restricted areas within the San Isidro Air Base and Las Americas International Airport for a limited time. He made the announcement with Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth at his side. Hegseth traveled to Santo Domingo to meet with the country's top leaders, including Abinader and Minister of Defense Lieutenant General Carlos Antonio Fernandez Onofre. It was the first major public agreement that the U.S. has struck with a Caribbean nation as it seeks friendly allies to support its attacks against alleged drug smuggling boats in the region and beyond, killing at least 83 people since the strikes began in early September. Hegseth said the Dominican Republic was a regional leader willing to take on hard challenges.
I announced to the nation that we have authorized the United States for a limited time to use restricted areas at the San Isidro Air Base and Las Americas International Airport for logistical operations such as aircraft refueling and the transport of equipment and technical personnel. The purpose is clear: to strengthen the air and maritime protection ring maintained by our armed forces, a crucial effort to prevent the entry of narcotics and to strike a more decisive blow against transnational organized crime.
What is a temporary deployment of U.S. service members and aircraft conducting Operation Southern Spear. Small footprint, temporary, fully respecting your sovereignty and your laws and all the dynamics here in the Dominican Republic. It's a great partnership and truly a joint effort between our two countries against narco trafficking and narco terrorism.
Global attention has intensified over the uncertainty surrounding former Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan's status as the hashtag "Where is Imran Khan" dominates social media platforms and fuels widespread concern. Rumors alleging Imran Khan's ill health, alleged disappearance, and even false reports of his death have circulated online, prompting heightened anxiety among supporters and political observers. Khan's family members claim that they have been denied prison visits for several weeks, raising further questions about his condition. Visuals of his sisters attempting to secure a meeting at Adiala Jail have amplified public scrutiny, while protests continue to build outside the facility. Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf, that's PTI, has demanded proof of life and a clear official statement from authorities regarding Khan's status. Party officials insist the government must allow immediate family access to dispel speculation. Supporters argue the state bears full responsibility for ensuring Khan's safety and upholding his constitutional rights. As tensions increased, Adiala Jail authorities issued a statement rejecting reports that Khan had been transferred. Officials said he remains inside the facility and is in good health and is receiving full medical care. Pranay Upadhyay, my colleague, joins me for more on this. Pranay, we were discussing this yesterday and we continue to discuss. The same question comes up. Where is Imran Khan?
Very cryptic silence being maintained by the Pakistani military establishment as well as the Pakistan government authorities, jail authorities, that where exactly is Imran Khan. However, the PTI leader, Salman Akram Raza, who's also a senior lawyer who has represented Imran Khan in different court cases, has issued a statement and he said that he has been put into a solitary confinement and this is totally in violation of his human right. This is his legal rights because he is being denied any access to family, any access to his lawyers, and this is in violation of the Pakistani legal norms. But it has been 845th day of imprisonment of Imran Khan. There is a sit-in dharna outside the Adiala Jail in Rawalpindi, and the temperature is around 11 degrees Celsius in Rawalpindi right now, Gita. And his family, his supporters are still there outside the Adiala court, and they are staging the sit-in protest, asking and demanding the Pakistan military authority, Pakistani jail authorities to give access for family to meet, because consecutively last 3 weeks the family has been trying to meet Imran Khan, but they couldn't meet Imran Khan. His lawyers are also not being able to contact Imran Khan, and that's why a lot of rumors are flying in Islamabad, in Pakistan, that what exactly has happened with Imran Khan, why family is not being given access, why the family is not being allowed to meet Imran Khan despite the court orders. So there is a lot of turbulence, and in fact the KPK chief minister Sohail Afridi, he has also joined party colleagues and party workers and Imran Khan's family outside the Adiala jail.
Right, Pranay, keep tracking that story. It's a very serious one happening in India's neighborhood. We'll keep coming back to you with that. We zoom out a little and ask a deeper question when it comes to Pakistan. Is Imran Khan going to become one of the bravest civilian leaders of the country fighting military dictatorship? Death, rumors, solitary confinement, foreign conspiracies, nothing broke him. The establishment feared him. The world watched. Now, can Imran Khan's defiance spark a revolution and redefine Pakistan's political future forever? Here's Statecraft for you. Imran Khan may just be the bravest man Pakistan has ever seen, and that statement alone is enough to rattle every pillar of the establishment that has choked Pakistani politics since 1947. Because in a country where every leader who dares question the military's omnipresent shadow is exiled, executed, or forced into compromise, like Bhutto, Asif Ali Zardari, like Sharif, like anyone who ever tried to stand upright, Imran Khan has done the unthinkable. He did not leave the country. He stayed. He fought. He roared back even from solitary confinement, even from a cell, even as rumors swirled outside Adiala Jail that he was dead, even as the sisters protested and thousands stormed the gates. And if he walks out today, he becomes a bigger hero than Pakistan has ever produced. In a nation where everyone else has bent, broken, or bargained, can Imran Khan's refusal to bow rewrite Pakistan's political destiny, or is this yet another sacrifice for the supremacy of the military dictatorship in Pakistan? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. Pakistan's political history reads like a warning label. Challenge the establishment and you're finished. Bhutto mobilized masses. He was executed. Sharif tried to tame military power. He was exiled, disqualified, dragged through orchestrated cases. Every time someone questioned the sacred order, they were crushed, erased, pushed out. But Imran Khan shattered that script. Even after a no-confidence ouster in 2022, even after solitary confinement, even after over 900 days behind bars, he refuses compromise. He refuses exile. He refuses silence. And he even dared to question Biden's America on interference, a line no Pakistani premier has ever crossed. Is this defiance the reason he now stands alone, uncompromised, and persecuted? He was once the military's man, created and backed by the Pakistani establishment. But today, Imran Khan's journey from Adiala Jail to the center of Pakistan's political storm is nothing short of a seismic rupture in a country where political courage usually ends in a grave or an airport leading to exile. The prison administration can claim he is healthy, comfortable, well-fed, and reclining on a velvet mattress. But that facade collapses instantly when confronted with the reality screamed by his sisters, his sons, and his supporters. He's locked away in solitary confinement, denied visitation rights despite court orders, isolated in inhumane conditions that expose the underlying truth. Pakistani establishment fears Imran Khan more than any threat it has ever faced. And the louder the nation roars outside Adiala's gates, the tighter those gates clamp shut. The first fractures appeared with the removal of then ISI chief Asim Munir in 2019, an act that planted the seeds of the war that would later consume him. Everything after that spiraled: rifts inside the military, economic pressures, PDM agitation, and establishment fatigue with a prime minister who refused to obey. He accused the establishment openly. He spoke of betrayal. He spoke of a foreign conspiracy, pointing his finger explicitly at Biden's United States of America, accusing it of orchestrating his downfall through diplomatic pressure, threats, and manipulation of Pakistan's military command. Even in solitary confinement, even when cut off from his sisters, even when his supporters were beaten, jailed, hunted, even when rallies were banned, even when the party symbol was stolen, even when PTI candidates were forced to run as independents, even when the election machinery bent the results, even when he was isolated behind four walls with a velvet mattress designed to be used as a political prop by ministers bragging that he had it better than five-star hotel food. He stayed unbroken, and that is why Pakistan trembles. The establishment can jail a man, it cannot jail an idea. And Imran Khan has become the idea Pakistan refuses to bury. Imran Khan is the only major Pakistani leader in decades who refused to compromise, refused to flee, refused to bow, refused to sign a deal for exile, refused to trade principles for safety. Now, Pakistan Army Chief and Field Marshal Asim Munir praised his country's achievements during Operation Sindoor yet again, claiming they boosted Islamabad's international standing. At an event at the General Headquarters, Munir said professionalism, resolve and commitment shown by his forces during Marka-e-Haq put Pakistan on the world map. Continuing his remarks on the country's future, he described Pakistan as a nation of consequence destined to attain its rightful place in the Comity of Nations. The comments echo his April speech before the Pahalgam attack, which was widely criticized for its religious overtones. Munir emphasized that Pakistan's strength lies in national unity and asserted that the country would overcome the nefarious designs of its adversaries. Analysts say his remarks are part of the military's effort to frame the May escalation with India as a victory and a demonstration of Pakistan's capabilities, a reiteration that Pakistan has been doing over and over again, but there are no takers. Hong Kong is facing its deadliest fire in nearly 3 decades after a massive blaze swept through Wang Fuk Court, a residential complex in Tai Po. At least 75 people have been killed and hundreds still missing, but blaze is now under control.
Hong Kong is battling its deadliest fire in nearly 3 decades. The massive blaze tore through a housing complex, engulfing 7 high-rise buildings and claiming over 50 lives. Dozens more have been injured and more than 250 people are still missing. The fire broke out at Bang Phu Court and spread rapidly along bamboo scaffolding at the residential estate in Tai Po district. The fast-moving flames forced some 700 residents to flee to temporary shelters.
How do I feel now? I even feel like dying. Seeing it like this and being unable to help, what can we do?
Firefighters worked for more than 24 hours to contain the blaze. Rescue operations are still underway as authorities struggle to control the fire and search for those missing. A senior Hong Kong fire official said firefighters are trying their best to save lives despite being hindered by high temperatures, collapsed scaffolding and constrained spaces.
It is very difficult for us. The area of the fire ground or the domestic unit is not big, so we need to deploy a limited or optimize our manpower to perform our firefighting and rescue operation.
The Hong Kong government has ordered inspections of all residential clusters undergoing major repair works. Authorities are also investigating the cause of the fire. Meanwhile, temporary shelters have been set up to assist the hundreds of residents left homeless. With Neha Kumari, Bureau Report, India Today.
Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu declared that a national security emergency be placed as authorities struggled to contain a surge in mass kidnappings that have seen hundreds of people abducted in the span of a week. Tinubu said in a statement that this is a national emergency and we are responding by deploying more boots on the ground, especially in security-challenged areas, he said. Armed groups have kidnapped 24 Muslim schoolgirls, 38 worshippers, more than 300 students and teachers from a Catholic school, 13 young girls and women near a farm, and another 10 women and children in separate incidents across the country. While dozens of victims have been rescued or managed to escape, 265 children and teachers taken from a Catholic boarding school in Niger State are still missing. Tinubu earlier ordered a redeployment of police VIP bodyguards for policing duties and approved the recruitment of 30,000 additional officers. He has also ordered the hiring of another 20,000 officers, taking the total to 50,000 new police recruits. Nigeria has suffered a string of abductions of school children since Islamist group Boko Haram kidnapped 276 children, girls in Chibok in the rest of Northeast in 2014. That's all on this edition of India Today Global. Thank you for watching. Keep yourself updated with all the news and updates over here on India Today Global. Goodbye and take care.